check.
I've always
check,
wanted to
check,
go on
check.
stage and get to do the check 1, 2. You know, Limp Bizkit style. No, check 1, 2. Sounds just like him.
You actually do.
Dan, I'm not gonna lie to you. There's one impression that I spent a lot of my time doing, and it would be Limp Bizkit.
Hey, watch him! With Dan and Tony! Hey, watch him! With Dan and Tony! It's Hey Watching, yeah!
Welcome to Hate Watching with Dan and Tony. I happen to be Dan.
And I happen to always be Tony.
Oh, I'm so glad that you're always Tony. I appreciate that I have a consistent Tony. I don't have to deal with a lot of different Tonys each week.
Now, listen, there's two things in life that you can control. It's your attitude and your effort. I'm going to show up every time, and I'm going to give you 110%, Dan Goodsell.
But if Tony Shalhoub calls, you're out.
Yeah, listen, if you get Monk, I'll gladly back off. Are you kidding me?
So on this show, we watch a movie before the show, and then during the show, we talk about the movie. That's a pretty good way to say what happens on this show.
It's a great summation, and I feel like people are ready to go. They're like, I get it, and let's move on.
More importantly, we try and find a terrible movie so that we can.
It doesn't always
rip it to
work.
pieces.
Let me just preface that.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So this one was suggested by a fan. It is a Disney movie from 1994 that promotes pedophilia.
Among other things. That's just one of the things that it promotes.
It's called Blank Check.
Oh, classic.
Hour and
Just
33
classic.
minutes, starring Brian Boitano.
Who's that?
I don't know. Brian Boitano's that's a South Park joke.
Okay.
Is Brian Boitano like an Olympic swimmer, and they did like a whole bunch of jokes
like
about
somebody I know, and I was like, well, I don't think he's in this movie, but I know that name.
it? Brian Bonesaw? What is this kid's name?
Bonesaw is ready. That's a Spider-Man quote.
Well, what is this kid's name?
I don't know this guy.
Oh, you don't know who this kid is? I figured you'd know him. He was
Brian Bonzal.
Oh,
I don't know if I'm saying that right.
He wasn't in anything that we know about?
No, he did like a couple of things, but he didn't have a great go of it.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
The kids save the bonds, the government saving bonds that they gave you for making this movie.
Amen.
So this is one of these movies that Tony loved as a kid.
And as an adult, turns out. Spoiler alert, Dan, I had a great time rewatching this. This brought back a lot of great feelings in me.
I can imagine. And that's because you have positive memories of this as a child. As a movie, this movie is beyond terrible.
It's not that bad. I've seen worse movies. It makes less sense than 98% of movies we've ever watched, but it's entertaining.
I was talking to my buddy Todd before the podcast.
Of course.
And I was talking about...
Pre-pod Todd. That's what we'll call those conversations.
Pre-pod Todd talk.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which movie is basically a ripoff of Ferris Bueller's Day Off, right?
Sure. But with tinier children.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off, a very hard movie to pull off.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't follow any sort of real movie structure, right? It's just Ferris Bueller having the best day ever. Yeah.
And it is. And you watch it and you're like, man, I wish I was having that day. Similar to this movie.
And in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, you have Matthew Broderick being very charismatic, super hot girl being super hot, his friend being kind of funny looking and acceptable.
And a little bit of a curmudgeon, which is great.
Bit of a curmudgeon. You have Jeffrey Jones before he went to jail for whatever terrible things he might have done. You have Ben Stein before he was angry about taking out Jemima off the syrup.
Bueller.
And you had do bum bum.
That's how you do the song. I do a day bow wow.
So
yeah, there it is.
So if you look at something like Ferris Bueller's as a movie, it's a terrible movie.
structurally and like if you were reading a Sid Field book and then trying to compare it to that, sure,
Sid
it doesn't work.
Rolling over in his grave if he's dead.
How dare they? But
so
this
this movie basically just sort of takes that sort of thing and adds a little bit of consequence, and maybe the kid goes through a little something.
I don't think so. Naomi and I were trying to we're trying to figure out what his lesson that he learned was, and I don't know that he learned one.
No.
I mean, he says at the end, he's like, I've got everything I need right here. But his family's still a bunch of dicks. So he really doesn't have everything he needs. So I don't know what lesson he learned. And maybe that's part of my problem. I didn't learn a lesson from it.
At least at the end of Weird Science, they have hot girlfriends.
Exactly. And it's like, look what we figured out. Great job, us. High five. This movie goes back to his 2 abusive brothers, his dad that doesn't pay attention to him, and his absentee mother. I don't know.
Well, the dad does say, maybe I pushed you too hard. Or
you think he's going to change, Dan? He's a 50-year-old man. We don't change. It's too late for us.
No change. So, I mean, structurally, this movie's pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Tony likes this movie because the ghost of Tony is sort of disassociating from his body and floating back into 9-year-old Tony and thinking about how he watched this movie. And Tony's like, that is how I will live my life. And it'll be incredible.
And guess what? It's pretty much how I live my life, Dan. We don't need to talk about it too much, but I learned a lot from this movie, and I did not learn whatever the final lesson was, which I assume is something like money won't buy you happiness. I don't know.
So wait a second. So you're saying that the lesson you learned from this movie is money buys you happiness.
Buy all the cool shit you want. Look how fun it is. That's the lesson I learned.
And now in your life, that's what you do. You actually have the ability to do that, and then you sit in a house full of stuff that you've bought, and it brings you a warm pleasure that fills up the void in your life.
A huge amount of joy. It makes up for everything.
Well, let me tell you, as a person who is actually 50, you're going to get to 50, and that's going to end.
I don't believe you, Dan. I will fight the good fight until the very end. I'll tell you that right now.
Blank check. This is a good one. So we start off. Any other pre-game before we get into the game?
The only thing I'm going to say is this movie came at a weird time in my life, which is we're almost at tax day. I don't know if I'm allowed to share my tax information, but we're almost at tax day, and I did a TurboTax tax calculator just to see how I was doing based on my W-2s, and it turns out that I'm going to owe about $24,000 on tax day. And I was like, I have not been living like I need to save $24,000 for this. So I'm like, oh no, I've only got $300 left in my account. Party's over. I felt for this kid at the end of this movie. I was like, oh shit.
Well, this kid just spent somebody else's money. He doesn't have to pay anybody any of this money.
I'm basically spending my wife's money. You know what I mean? Like she needs it to live, and I'm just spending it. So this movie it hit home. I had a weird existential crisis last night, and I still didn't learn a lesson.
You still didn't come away. You still think that everything that happens in this movie, okay, keep living
great.
Like that. Things are going to work out.
Thumbs up. I need a cool driver friend. I need a hot older girlfriend. I mean, shit looks great in this movie.
So we cut right into the titles. Guy running in the rain on the train tracks. Going to the town of...
Is this the same opening as The Fugitive? Like, I feel like this is like the same scene where he's like running through the rain. I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Could be.
Doesn't matter.
Right into the town of Hillsdale. Isn't that the Back to the Future town?
So, now I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know. It sounds... I don't think so. Hold on. Let's look up Back to the Future town.
So this guy's running to the Back to the Future town. He gets to this garage.
Hill Valley.
Oh, Hill Valley.
Totally different.
Okay, well that's good. That would have been really weird. Uses a blowtorch, opens a panel that has a hinge on it.
Yeah, why don't
and pulls out a briefcase full of money. And it's Miguel Ferrer as the bad guy. He kisses
who
the
I
money.
love.
He's great.
He's great. Yeah,
he's great, and he sells this part as much as you could sell this part in a movie like this.
There's he's doing his best, and I just good for him. Good for him for showing up to work and just being like, I'm gonna do the work. This is a terrible script, and I know that, but I'm gonna do the work, and I love that. I respect it.
He plays a terrible guy that got out of prison, broke out of prison, was freed from prison. Why he's running in the rain?
Slightly unclear. It's unclear.
There's certainly no. Wait, are they? Now, are the FBI people? Are they waiting for him to come back here?
It doesn't seem like they're waiting for him, but they do seem to know that there's some sort of money laundering happening at the bank.
Okay, so they don't even have a picture of him.
No, they don't know who he is at all. I don't understand, but he went to jail for something. Maybe he talks about it like he went away. I don't know.
So he's got his money. So here we meet this stupid kid who's 11 years old, ostensibly. Seems very small for 11, but I don't know.
Yeah, I wrote 9. That was my guess. I said, nah, he's 9. That's what I said.
9 feels better, but I think they say he's 11, or I think maybe there's 11 candles on the cake. I don't know. He's talking to his fish. And then here come the brothers. The dad has decided that his bedroom is now the other brother's second office.
Yeah.
I don't know if they each have individual rooms. I don't think we ever established that.
They do. It says it. Because the kid's speech is, since they both have their own rooms, it seems unfair that I have to share my room with them as well. That doesn't make any sense, Dad. And the kid's right.
They're moving in multiple computers, right?
Yeah, I don't know. They're setting up like a whole hub, but they never tell me what the business is. They just say, "For your business." That's like the running theme from the dad.
And they kind of make it like this is actually a thing. It's not now you can try to start a business, but they have a business.
Yes, they're mid-business, as far as I can tell. Like they have operating costs and they are doing well. I don't know. So they're expanding.
It makes you feel like something is going on, which is never paid off.
It's never paid off, and also then they go to work for Macintosh. So I'm super confused, Dan.
So maybe their business failed in the 3 days that this movie occurs.
That would have been a good storyline. Their business fails as his takes off. It would have been good.
Do you want to talk about the charisma of the two brothers?
Are you under the impression that they had charisma?
No, I was never under that impression.
They're not good. One of them reminds me of the guy from Al Bundy's show, the son from that. And I was he's like a worse version of him.
What's crazy is, in the titles, there was somebody's name who was similar to David Faustino. And I read the name and I was like, I thought it was David Faustino's name, even though it was just sort of similar.
And then you saw the kid.
I thought Butch, the little redheaded kid, was David Faustino.
Oh, interesting.
I literally asked my wife, I was like, Shannon, is David Faustino a redhead? And she's like, no, he has brown hair. And I'm like,
yeah, he's definitely a brunette. Yeah, that's correct.
So then I looked it up on the internets, and it's some other guy.
It's some other idiot.
Other random role.
Yeah.
That doesn't anything. So there you go. So yeah, these two brothers, no real role.
Nothing. No.
Just kind of
empty,
there.
vapid characters, just there to say mean things to spur on our hero.
Industry gets reward. That's one of the things the dad says. The golden rule: if you have the gold, you get to rule.
Yeah.
There's something about butt to face.
Well, there's a couple things where he talks about like making love to women in this scene. That sounds weird.
The 9-year-old?
No, the dad in front of all 3 kids. At one point, he's talking about the computer, and he's like, "This software is going to teach you everything you need to know, except for how to make love to a woman." And I was like, "What? Wait, first of all, you're wrong, Dad, because that is where most of us now learn how to do that on our little computer devices. Thank you very much, Dad."
Pretty much.
But also, like, what a weird thing to say to an 11-year-old kid.
It was weird. It was very weird.
I don't know.
I think I chose not to write that down because I was.
That's the first note that I wrote down. I ignored everything else up until that point until he talked about making love to a woman.
So the kid is off to a birthday party. The dad takes him to Funland. It's Butch's birthday party. Butch is sort of the local bully.
Yeah. Why is he going to the party?
This kid literally is friendless.
He has zero friends.
Zero friends.
Did they?
No explanation as to why he has zero friends.
Right. Did they invite him as like a joke, a little lark? No, and then the dad was, but the kid would know that, right? He knows he's not friends with them. So why would he even want to go? I was very confused on why he was at the party.
If I was invited to a birthday party of kids that hated me and my dad dropped me off at an amusement park, I would probably go my own direction and enjoy myself in other ways.
Exactly. Just go have fun by yourself for a couple hours. I don't know. It's very strange.
And the kid is given a pittance of money, which won't even get him on rights. And so he sits there watching the other terrible kids have fun.
But he does buy cotton candy. So, I mean, like, get over yourself, kid. That's the best treat in the world.
They get splashed and his cotton candy gets wet and it's ruined.
But again, entirely your fault. It's not like you don't know the splashy ride is going to splash the bridge.
Kid's an idiot. Now, Tony, did you have friends when you were this age, 9, 10, 11?
Oh, boy. I had a lot of friends, Dan. No, I had my neighborhood friends. Like I grew up I was very lucky. I grew up in a neighborhood where there was a bunch of kids my age. So we had like a group of like 8 or 10 of us that all hung out in the neighborhood.
And were there like the freak kids that no one hung out with?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah, there were.
Did you do terrible things that you still feel bad about because you're a terrible person?
No, but we did exclude them. And like
Wow.
I do feel bad, but we weren't mean to them. We weren't like they tried to come hang out with us and we're like, get out of here, you weirdo. It was just like we didn't invite them, and I'm sure they sat at their windows and were like, well, hey, they're playing again. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Now, do you know about what happened to any of these kids, like, suicide or anything?
Yeah, I know one of them. His name's Steve. He races race cars now, so he's doing fine.
Oh, okay. So the humiliation and shame of the ostracization.
It probably propelled him to greatness. Yeah.
The loneliness made him, focus in on actually getting a useful skill, race car driving.
See? And look at me. I'm a waste. I'm a waste of space. You lucked out, buddy. Yeah. That's what I'll say to him if I ever meet him again.
I was very popular as a small child. Pretty popular.
As a small child.
And then as it went along, I had less and less friends, but I had a core group of friends.
Yeah, you kind of weed out and you get tighter with the few. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I sort of transitioned into new friends in like junior high and then followed those people to high school and then, sort of remained friends with them.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Then I got rid of all those friends and then made friends with new young people like you, Tony. And so soon I will have to jettison you away and find newer, younger people.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting a little old for you, Dan. Once I hit that 40, I think I'm done. I think I'm out.
I cut them at 40. I like to keep the friends young.
You got to keep
like
me young. Late 20s at most, Yes,
that is true. But then again, I always used to like hang out with like the older women at all my jobs.
Yeah, Dan, you did.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, Dan.
He's poor. Has to ride the ostrich on the merry-go-round.
Yeah. So my question for you, Dan, is: are they saying that he could only afford that specific seat, or was just the fact that he's on the merry-go-round the problem?
Let's talk about the merry-go-round.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about it. Okay, I love it.
When you were a kid, we grew up at South Coast Plaza, big merry-go-round. We would ride it occasionally. It wasn't a big thing. There wasn't the brass ring to reach for, none of that stuff.
Yeah.
I have the feeling I gravitated towards the weird creatures.
Yeah. I was a horse guy through and through.
Oh, you were a horse guy. You were a standard Tony.
I was a fucking stallion.
Vanilla Tony.
Vanilla? What are you talking about? I'm on one of the most majestic animals in the kingdom, okay? Oh, man.
See, I'd be like, ostrich, please. Oh, bench, please. You know.
I get the bench because the bench is the only comfortable seat on the entire ride. Like, I don't really want to be riding anything, if I'm being honest. So if I can sit, I'm good.
Merry-go-round, not actually enjoyable. You don't go on the merry-go-round and then get off it and say 10 more times, please. You go on the merry-go-round and
that's
you're
true.
like, well, I did a thing.
I did. I went around and around for a little bit. Yeah, but here's my thing: is that's the most spinny I can get. So for me, it was pretty wild.
Pretty wild. Okay. Then he gets wet, and
like an idiot.
This is a foreshadowing to other things that are going to occur. A foreshadowing in this movie. At dinner, I wrote dinner - I'm poor. He must have said something about being poor.
He asks his dad. He said, "Dad, are we poor?" Which I thought is really funny. I was like, "Yeah, you are, kid."
It's his birthday, so he gets a check from grandma, and it's a blank check. And I'm like, well, here we go. Blank check, the movie.
Nope.
No.
Fooled you. This is where he learns what a blank check is, Dan. You got to set that up for when the next one comes along. Because a lot of kids get 2 or 3 blank checks in their lifetime. I don't know if you are aware of this.
Within the same week, typically. within a day of each other. Typically.
Thank God Grandma sent me that blank check, so now I know what to do with it.
So Dad's like, what did she give you last time? He's like, 10, what is it, like $10? Okay, we'll make this 11.
Well, because what about inflation? Which this kid knows more about finances than I do. Let me just say that. He's good. He knows about closing costs on houses. He knows about inflation. This guy's got it all.
Which, the amount of business acumen they sort of give to this kid, it wasn't played out at any point before he was given blank checks by people.
No, money taught him that, Dan. Money can teach you anything. That's the lesson of this movie. Money makes you a better person. End of story.
So he goes into his thing and plugs into his computer how long it would take if he invested this money or put it in the bank till he had $1 million, and it was 342,000 years.
Now, and that is the most relatable thing to happen in Hollywood ever. I was like, yeah, kid, I do this. I go on these types of things daily, and I'm like, how much do I need to save so I can make $1 million? And it's not good.
So we're at the bank. The bank manager's there. Heavyset guy you've seen in a million character roles.
Yeah, he's great.
In comes the bad guy, puts the money on the table. They're in cahoots. He has to launder the money through the bank and then give him new clean money.
Yeah.
So he's like, I'll be sending someone in tomorrow with a check. Juice. Give me some checks. He'll write the check for $1 million. You give him $1 million. You're going to launder it in a day. Not how money laundering works.
I believe you. And the only reason I know that is because I also watched Ozarks. So these two. Ozark,
not Ozarks.
Ozarks. All of them. I watched multiple Ozarks. And they're so different in how they deal with money laundering. I don't know who to believe, Dan.
I would believe the Ozarks.
Okay.
So that's the plan. The plan is he's got to launder it all in a day somehow through the bank. I don't understand. Don't know why he has to launder it. Oh, I guess it's sequential numbers.
They'll track it or something. I don't know how money works.
That's not really laundering it. That's just
it's basically just exchanging it, right?
Yeah, I mean, ostensibly, why doesn't he just give him the money right then?
Just like a trade. Just here's $1 million of my money. Give me $1 million of your million.
Because if you walk into a bank and you get sequential numbers on your money, you're not going to care.
No, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't even notice, if I'm being honest.
The bank gets the money from, bigger bank.
Yeah, sure.
Large bank.
I don't know how money works, Dan.
Government
I don't know
bank.
where it comes from.
Fort Knox. Fort Knox
sends
over
trees.
It's paper.
Shit, Dan, money does come from trees. Why is that a saying?
Money doesn't grow on trees. Money is made of trees.
Oh, because that's the saying, is growing.
Growing on trees. Good God, Tony. We're not even a page through this movie. We're half an hour in. We're not even a page through this terrible
We're
movie.
not going to finish this movie. This will be a 3-parter.
Kid goes to bank to cash his $11 check. Don't quite understand that. Typically, you just sign it over to your dad. He would cash it, and he'd give you the money, or something like that.
Yeah, I don't believe that they're allowed to at that age. I don't know. I guess I don't know about the 90s, but I don't think that I don't know.
What does a kid do with a check?
They give it to their parents.
They
That's
give it
what
to
I
their
always
parents.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I didn't give it. He just took it, but it was fine.
Yeah. Huh. Okay.
I don't know.
So
Yeah,
he's
I don't
going
know.
in there to do it. Before he goes in, there's a flyer on the outside of the bank with Shay's photo on it, played
Yeah,
by the beautiful Cara Duffy. He
but it
goes
doesn't
in
make
there.
any sense. Why
Doesn't-
is there a flyer?
Doesn't make any sense.
She's just a teller at a bank. She doesn't need a flyer.
And why does he need a flyer for her?
I have.
He's gonna just
I don't
walk
know.
in. You know, why do we have to see her face before he walks in there to see her face?
You get a nice preview, and you're like, "Oh, I hope we meet that." Yeah, no, we met her. Great.
He walks in there. There she is. She looks down at him. This girl is thirsty for a 9-year-old.
There is an immediate sexual chemistry between these two that is unreal, amazing. This is the dream, Dan.
So why do you hate girls with short hair?
I don't hate girls with short hair. I hate Halle Berry with short hair.
See, that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. It makes sense because I don't like Halle Berry. Full stop. I don't think she's attractive. And then I don't know. I think short hair is harder to pull off, in my opinion. But it can be done.
So talk about Cara Duffy.
Ah, Karen Duffy. Well, listen. This is the beginning of a lot of problems for me in my life.
What does that mean?
Dan, they're selling me the dream. They're selling me everything that I'd ever want, which is I'm a child. I'm going to get arrested after this.
The arrest goes the other way. It's the adult person
so I'll get
lusting
someone
after the
else
child,
arrested.
not the child lusting after the adult.
Because here's, I walk in, I'm just discovering myself. I'm just learning about my body. I'm starting to, why am I getting all these erections? I don't know. And then this beautiful woman is just like gracing my presence. And it's like, I'll teach you. That's what I wanted all growing up. I never got it. It's bullshit. This movie's bullshit.
Oh, so this movie made you a promise that was not
this movie made me a lot of promises that I have continued to strive for my entire adult life, and I have found none of it.
It's
but
written you a blank check you can't cash.
Which I believe is all blank checks. I don't know how it works, but I don't think that this would work. Let me just say that if I filled out a check for $1 million, I think they would ask the person whose check it was, "Hey, is this real?"
Yeah, I mean, the one thing about this movie is they sort of set up these. But we'll get to the blank check.
Okay, let's get back to the hot older woman seducing a child.
So she says, "You got to have $200 to open a bank account," and then she sends him away and doesn't even cash the $11 check.
Yeah, because why wouldn't she just take it and give him $11? Be like, "You can't open an account, but I can give you the $11 if you want."
So right? He basically never cashes his check.
Well, the kid ends up stealing it.
Oh, that's true. So he leaves the bank, goes outside. Butch rides by on his bike, grabs the check, and takes off, and I guess gets away with it.
Yeah, he's got the check, but he can't cash the check because his name's not on it. Again, that's how checks work.
So during the bike chase, Miguel Ferrar's bad guy backing out, hits the bike, knocks over the kid has fallen down and runs over the bike.
I just want to say one thing. When he's getting ready to back up and he's looking at himself in the mirror, he does he kisses his fingers and then touches the mirror. It's the greatest moment. I laughed so hard, and I don't know why. I just was like, there's no way that anyone told him to do that.
No.
And he's just like, what's up?
I love myself that much.
I love it. I look good. I thought it was a great moment.
So basically, he sort of runs over the kid's bike, gets out, and then amazingly, Butch comes back and throws the dude under the bus, helps out the little idiot.
Well, he starts by saying, "I'm a witness, and I'll do it for the right amount of money." And then the guy's like, "I'm not giving you money." He's like, "All right, well then fuck you, old man. I'm going to turn you in." Butch is actually the best character in the film.
He is the best character in the film. Well, Miguel Ferrer is fine too.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And Tone Loc's going to come in shortly, and Tone Loc's great.
God, I love Tone Loc. I fucking love him.
Wasted in this movie.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's like, and he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how much to give the kid, so he gives the kid a blank check. So now the kid.
Almost on accident. So what happens is he's gonna fill out the check. For whatever reason, he signs it first. Nobody ever does that. That's not how you fill out a check. You never sign it first. That's crazy. But he signs his name, and then the police come, and he's like, you know what? Just give this to your dad. He'll know what to do with it.
Yeah, gives him a blank check.
Stupid. You never.
Stupid.
You would never sign the check before you fill anything out. You would never do that, Dan. Would you do that?
But that's the premise of the stupid movie.
No, I understand that.
Well, so you're saying this movie now has become unbelievable.
This is the only part of the movie that's unbelievable, Dan. Okay? We would never do that.
So basically, he has now a true blank check, goes home, his parents vibe him out over the bike. I guess he doesn't even tell them about the blank check.
No, he doesn't tell them about the blank check, but let's talk about his parents, his shitty asshole parents for a second. This kid gets run over by a car.
Yeah. And
they yell at him about his bike. Well, you got to take care of it when cars run you over. I was livid.
I got hit when I was a kid.
Holy shit, Dan.
On my bike.
Oh my God. Did you
get over,
money?
Crushed bike. Yeah. Got money.
Fuck yeah, dude. Good for you.
Spent the money. I think bought a new bike.
Sure.
And then
it checks out.
I think I got like $100 or $50 or some amount of bucks, and I think I spent it on Dungeons and Dragons stuff.
Both great choices. Yeah. I'm proud of you. Good for you. That's the dream. Honestly, if one thing could happen to me, I would like to get hit by a cab and then sue the cab company.
That's wow, Tony. I'm glad you have some aspirations in your life.
Now that I put that out in the world, I can't do it because then they'll point to this and they'll be like, he did it. He jumped in front of that cab. He wanted this to happen. Damn it!
I will send it in.
Dan, you sell out. I was going to split the money with you.
So the kid's starting to make a list of all the things that he wants.
What's number one on the list?
His brothers to die.
He wants to murder his brothers.
Number 2 is he wants a house. More specifically, he wants a house that's down like 3 houses down or not 3 houses down.
He's on the same street for sure. He wants to be close to his family, but independent. I get it.
And what is the house?
It's a weird castle thing.
And who lives there? Who lives there now?
2 old people that are gonna die very soon.
No. In real life.
Oh, I have no idea. Is this a real house?
It's a real house in Texas. This whole movie was shot in Texas, of all places.
No, it said Indiana. That's where they said they're from.
No, this is Texas. They shot this all in Texas. Robert Rodriguez lives in that house.
What? Do you think he only paid $150,000 for it?
They paid $300,000 in the movie, but
eventually, the first offer was $150,000. Dan,
I wonder if houses in 19.
Well, I can tell you because that is the only research that I did on this movie.
Okay, good. That's good. So I'm intrigued.
So they said they were in Indiana because when Butch gets pressured to give the address, it's in Indiana. So the average home price in Indiana in 1994, when this movie was made, was $97,000.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I was like, okay, but the averge house is like a little. Sure. This is a castle.
It'd be a 2-bedroom, maybe.
So like I feel like the 300,000 might not be that far off.
I mean, it's a castle, but it is in Texas, so it's not beyond. It's not absurd.
But the original offer of 150, that is absurd.
Which they turned down.
They were reluctant. That's true. They were like, I don't think so. But then he was talking about how they're going to die. I don't know. It's pretty dark stuff.
So the first thing, kill his brothers, wants a house, and then he gets grounded by his parents. Tony, let's talk about you getting grounded.
I didn't get grounded, Dan.
You never got grounded?
I was grounded. The only time I remember being grounded was one time, and it lasted like 2 days, and then my mom was like, don't worry about it, essentially.
Wow. See, I thought there were going to be these great Tony grounded stories about you climbing out windows and making like fake airplanes and launching yourself to go to a party.
Climbing out windows I did do, but not because I was grounded, just because we had curfew. Now, those are different things.
You had curfew.
We had a 10 o'clock curfew, and I very rarely adhered to that.
Now, did your parents know that you were not adhering to the curfew?
Yeah, of course they knew. They're not stupid. That's, at the time, I thought I was being very sneaky because I was we had a 3-story house, right? We had 2 floors and then a basement. And my room was actually in the basement. I had an incredible room. It was huge. I had like an entertainment center and then a bedroom area, and I separated them by bookshelves. It was dope. But I had my own windows, and so I would just sneak out my window all the time. And I thought for sure nobody knew. But one day, my dad sat me down and he's like, hey, what time did you get in last night? And I was like, oh, yeah, it was like 10:15. I'm really sorry. I was a little bit late and you guys were already in bed. Yada. And he's like, the alarm system tells me what time the windows are open. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, it tells me. I know what time you came home. And then I just like broke down and I told him everything. And he's like,
did you cry?
Oh yeah, I cried. And I was like, I'm sorry. I was out till like 2:30 and I don't know. I was just doing this and this and this. And after I was done, he goes, alarm systems don't say those sort of things. You're an idiot. And then he sent me downstairs and I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
He rocked your entire world.
He lied to me and it worked.
Now, what were you doing till 2:30 in the morning?
We just used to hang out at the park. We used to play night games. Do you ever play Kick the Can?
No.
You ever play, I wonder if that's after your time. Basically,
I know that from like the Twilight Zone. Like these old people play it to stop being old.
People.
Yeah, actually, it's an
Is it
called
really
Kick
old?
the Can. Old folks
God.
home, they get the can. When they kick the can, they become kids again.
Okay, well, that's pretty
Except
much what happened with us.
The one will come and I'm not going to play. And then he's the only one in the old folks home. Everyone else off living new lives.
Oh my God, that's the saddest thing I've ever heard.
It's fucking bullshit. Because I'd be that old guy. I'd be like, I'm not playing some bullshit game.
Yeah, no, I get it. So we played Kick the Can and we played Jailhouse Rock. That's a good one too. That's basically tag, except for like people get to hide. The people that are the taggers get to hide. And then you sing 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock rock, 4 o'clock. And then when you get to 12, you have to run around the house and try to make it back without getting tagged. Yeah, these games were great. So we just used to play games in the neighborhood. It was the 90s.
So you were like 10 years, 11 years old at 2:30 in the morning playing tag with your weird friends.
Games. Yeah, on the weekends. And here's the thing. The thing that's messed up is all the other parents knew and were fine with it. It was just, my dad wasn't. Whatever.
Well, he must have been fine with it because it never ended.
Yeah. So, I mean, when I say fine with it, he was the only guy that was like, oh, you have a curfew. You know what I mean? Everyone else was like, yeah, you're in.
Wait a second. So all these other kids on school nights were allowed to be out till 2:30 in the morning.
Not school nights, weekends. This was Friday and Saturday nights in our neighborhood was game nights. And we just used to play all night. I don't know.
Wow. It's crazy.
Yeah, we were wild, Dan. But here's the general philosophy of our neighborhood was as long as you're all here
you're not
and we
murdered.
know what you're doing, yeah, like it's fine. Have fun, but be safe.
If you cross the railroad tracks, then they he's coming.
We don't have railroad tracks. Dan, come on.
So then he's got the blank check and we got the fake womp womp music.
It is pretty similar, though.
He uses a computer to make it say 200,000 or $200, then 1,000, then $1 million, and then $1 million for cash, and then he prints it out.
Now, Dan, I don't know a lot about banks, but they're not going to just have $1 million in cash at the bank, right?
$1 million? No. Not at all.
Like $1 million's a lot. I understand that they have reserves for that very thing, but
this idiot kid wouldn't know that.
He knows what inflation is, Dan.
He's an idiot kid.
Yeah, you're right.
The real question is how would he have scanned all the check data into the computer?
Yeah, no, yeah. The way that he just I don't know. It's all very strange. It's
More
fine.
importantly, how do you print out a check that has front and the back?
That's kind of where my head was at.
This kid has a color printer? I don't know. Maybe in the 90s.
The kid's a genius.
So, boom. Next day, he goes in there and gives the check to this older woman, and then she's all like, you've got to talk to Mr. Biederman. And then she takes him back there, and the old guy gets fooled and thinks that the kid is the courier and gives him $1 million into his backpack.
Dan.
Yeah.
let's talk about the old woman for a second. If an 11-year-old child
Yeah.
comes to your stand and gives you a check for $1 million,
Yeah.
you really gonna take that seriously on any level?
Well, I think the idea was she took him back there to humiliate him.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
I mean, they didn't really play that up, but this movie
Okay.
never really examines its text. It just sort of assumes
yeah.
that you're going along with it.
Listen, if we think too hard about the movie, it will fall apart very quickly. So let's just move through it and get to the fun stuff.
So basically, fills his backpack, and then he's like walking out, and he walks past Tone Loc, who he knows the bad guy. They're
Who's
collect
just
the money.
Creeping on women the whole time.
Oh yeah.
Which is
Oh, look out! I'm looking at this ass. You're like, this is a kids movie, and we're doing like, attractive person in the bank's ass. I mean, okay.
You better believe it, baby. The funky Cole Medina.
Tone Loc bumps into the kid and sees him. Kid's also on camera, so sees him.
Yeah.
So the kid's like walks out and basically runs all the way home in the amount of time it takes Tone Loc to walk half
into
of
the
a
office.
hallway, and then sort of for the mix-up to be figured out. The kid literally has done about 25 minutes of running in what takes the other characters about 2 minutes.
Or he's just very, very fast, Dan.
Very
Maybe they're
fast.
underselling how fast the kid is.
Did you feel any tension when the kid bumped into Tone Loc, like something might go awry?
Of course not. Why would I? There's nothing suspicious happening yet. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But he's a kid, so kids are dumb.
Kid running bank. What about the kid? And then he gets home, and what is the first thing he does?
Is this where he Scrooge McDucks it?
No. The first thing he does is get on the computer to buy the Castle House.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. That whole scene is pretty fraught with loopholes here.
Miguel Ferrer's in the Castle House with the people that own the thing and a real estate agent.
Yeah.
The stupid kid gets on a computer, is able to contact them via the phone, which he makes a false voice through the computer, and then they have a bidding war for the house that goes $180K, $190K, $200K, $210K. Then his mom walks in and is like, $300 for some unknowable reason.
Which is a completely different voice. These people don't find that weird at all. Like that's just so weird. And that's the only thing they hear because he's talking out loud next to the phone receiver. The mom keeps yelling other stuff. At one point, he yells back to his mom, "You're killing me on this deal." Funny joke, but he didn't mute the phone. Like, I don't understand what's happening.
Although I'm sure some phones had mute functions at that point, no one would have understood. No one would have understood if he tried to mute. I shall mute the phone with this. Like if he, nowadays we push a button on the thing and we all understand mute. Back then, not a thing.
I guess it's I don't know. It's just ridiculous.
And then Miguel Ferrer loses his mind that he lost the house and gets angry at people and then leaves or something.
Or and then he's like, the name is Macintosh. He's like, oh, Macintosh. And then he's mad at Macintosh.
Yeah, so the kid has made up this fictitious person, Macintosh, who is going to be the fictitious person who he says has all this money for the rest of the movie. And everyone's going to believe that Macintosh is a real person the entire movie with absolutely no reason to believe that.
It's really hard for me to remember a time really pre-internet, obviously.
Sure.
But if somebody had that much money, I have to believe you would have heard of them at some point. Somebody, not everybody.
Oh, no.
Really?
No.
I don't know, man. But I don't know, so there's that.
Back at the office in the bank, they sort of put together that it's this kid, so let's find the kid. How do you find a kid? You go to places where there are kids.
Which is a creepy line, by the way. If you think about it, this guy's been cruising parks his whole life. I can tell.
Now we just are immediately explained that Shay / Karen Duffy works for the FBI.
Yeah, it comes out of nowhere, and I love it. Like, I really, really like it. She's just at the bank, and then they show, like, her fake microphone, whatever that is her lapel, and she's like, we've got to notify the Bureau right away. And you're like, wait, what?
And it's like, this is a bit of information that you could surprise us with at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, sure.
Use it to some effect, but they're just like, we better introduce this now.
Yeah, like when she's asking over and over, where's Macintosh? You're like, oh, something fishy's going on. And then we think she's a gold digger because that's how they set it up in the movie. But the whole time, it's not. She works for the Bureau.
Wow, that would have added some actual tension to this useless movie.
Sure, yeah. What a treat that would have been. But it's a kid's movie, Dan. Kids need things spelled out for them.
The parents leave. The kid escapes. Oh, the parents go on a vacation or something for a day?
Yeah,
they have to go to a conference?
Yeah, they're sneaking out to get some. Like, let's be honest, they're staying at a hotel so they can hook up.
So he escapes. Don't know why he has to escape since, is there even a babysitter there?
It's his brothers are watching him. So I'm sure that they are not very nice when they watch him. We don't get to see that interaction at all, but that's just my assumption.
And there he has ordered a limo to take him 3 houses down the block.
Yeah, just like I would. I like to do that just in my own neighborhood sometimes. I'm just like, just drive me around the block, sir. And he's like, whatever you want.
And the limo driver says, hop in. And he, like a frog, he hops in.
I thought that was funny.
It's cute-ish.
Yeah, it's like a kid. It's kid humor. Hold on, Dan. We're skipping through a bunch of stuff here.
What did we skip through? We didn't skip through anything.
We skipped through him singing in the money, right?
No, we haven't. That's where we're about to go.
Oh, here's what we skipped.
We skipped how he paid for the limo. That's the only thing.
No, we skipped the first of 2 fourth wall breaks in this movie, which is when the parents are leaving. He's looking out the window, and then he turns straight to camera and does the eyebrows. Right before
really?
Yes, and then he sneaks out of the house. Because, you got to get your Ferris Bueller's moment in there,
So we start the I Want Money, start playing the I Want Money song, and we have a montage of buying.
Which is kind of fun.
They go to Sharper Image. They go to a place where you can play tennis and basketball.
Yeah, which sounds like a fun place, if I'm being honest. And also not that expensive. So there's that.
We get this gag that we're going to call back. He goes to Haagen-Dazs and buys an entire trash can full of ice cream.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't know.
It was really stupid. And he also has a special mix.
Yeah, he's got his own, like a Ben and Jerry's type of deal where you get to make your own. But here's the thing is, I understand that it's a visual gag, but even as a kid, I'm pretty sure I was like, he's never going to finish that.
Even a stupid kid knows that.
Yeah, like
this stupid kid could never finish an entire.
You're not going to eat that whole thing. What a waste! What a waste of ice cream, you son of a bitch. That's probably what I was thinking.
They're going along. They're driving along, and there is Shay jogging.
And I guess it's the 90s, so she doesn't immediately run for her life when a limo creeps up on her side. But I feared for her life.
Want to ride? And then she's like, I'm out of shape. Okay, I'm coming into the bank tomorrow.
No,
see you tomorrow.
Dan, you're skipping over a very important moment, which is when she says, I'm out of shape. And creepy Henry from the driver's seat says, not where I'm sitting.
Not from where I'm sitting.
Yeah. Like, guys, let's calm down. Let's not sexually harass the woman trying to exercise on the side of the road.
So the next day, big delivery day at the house, hundreds of trucks, including the Chips Ahoy truck.
Great product placement. I immediately went on to Shipt, which is Target's delivery service, and I bought a bag of Chips Ahoy cookies. So it worked. I'm not. That's 100% factual.
You're gonna have to send that bag of cookies to the IRS, His dad comes down the street angry because there's all these delivery trucks. And then
this is great.
he tells the dad, Macintosh is moving in. I work for him. And then he like whistles or yells and clear a path for my dad.
He yells. He's on some sort of megaphone system that doesn't make any sense because he is connected when he's on top of the tower yelling. And then also when he's down, there's Bluetooth. Did Bluetooth exist? I don't even know.
Maybe he came up with it. Maybe
Macintosh invented Bluetooths. So all these real businessmen are listening to this child. It's 11-year-old boy, which doesn't make any sense.
He maybe put on like a little. At some point, he puts on a suit and some little round sunglasses to look.
This is when he's doing it.
I don't know if he did that before.
Nobody's going to listen to an 11-year-old child. It's just not going to happen. Anyhow, but he goes, yeah, clear a path, boys. And then everybody runs and scrambles and clears a path. Oh, boy, this is wish fulfillment at its finest, isn't it? As a kid, you want that power so badly.
I think we go back into the montage again. This is our second time into the montage of him having fun with all the stuff he just bought. There's a go-kart. There's games.
Yeah.
I wrote, dumb driver is dumb. Oh, yeah. Do you want to talk about the limo driver?
I feel like I've seen him a bunch. I didn't do any research on him, which I wish I had.
He's kind of like Jim Belushi, but
I thought
even less interesting.
I thought he's more like John Candy, but I'll give you Belushi.
Okay, you got John Candy, Jim Belushi, 1,000 other good, funny actors. Then you get this guy.
I'm in there somewhere, Dan. In that 1,000 other actors, I'm in there somewhere.
You're way up on that list.
But this guy.
You would have been funny in this role. This guy's fairly terrible.
Here's what I found most interesting, and maybe other people aren't going to find this as interesting, is they clearly let him improvise in a couple of scenes. I mean, I feel like this has to be improvisation. I don't know for sure. But when he goes on his little diatribes of like, oh, have you ever heard of this one? Have you heard this saying? This saying? And none of it is funny. It's just, I don't know. It feels like a role that you should have gotten a comedian for. And I feel like
he is a comedian.
Okay. Maybe I should stop talking.
He feels like he's a comedian.
He's not a very good one.
Does a hot 20 at the last stop.
Well, that's my point though. Is like I feel like that's what should be happening, but they're not funny.
Yeah,
he has the delivery, and he has like, oh, I'm doing a bit, I'm doing my shtick right now. Yeah, but none of them are funny.
Yeah. I agree.
I don't know. It was a wasted role, and it's one of those roles as an adult when I watch it where I was like, fuck, I think I could have had a really good time with that. That's the kind of role I want. I never want to be a leading man, but I want to be that, the side character that gets to throw out the barbs and the jokes and just have fun.
I wrote the bad guys are at the water park. Do they just go to the water park and look at the kids? And then that's it?
Is it a water park, or is this the backyard? I got confused. Why is he at a water park? But yeah, no, the bad guys are just there. And this is one of my favorite moments of the film, actually.
What happens?
Tone Loc. I don't know if I wrote it down. Oh yeah, I did. So him and Tone Loc and the main guy are arguing. And they're trying to find the kid. And Tone Loc's like, you gave me one picture. He looks like that kid. 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 I'm not going to find him. And he goes, I'm going to go on a water slide. And he just walks off. I was like, what are you talking about? I love it. Good for him.
That's what I do in the middle of that scene. I'm like, is he done? Right, I'm going to spend the rest of the day at the park. You guys,
I'm just going to have fun, man. This is dumb. We're doing dumb stuff.
Butch tries to get into the castle and he gets thrown out.
But like, he's screaming the whole time. I feel like they're being a little aggressive with poor little Butch here.
We start with the montage of fun again. This is the third time we've gone into the montage of fun.
Are you saying you're not having fun in these montages, Dan?
No, they're terrible. He's like, I'm in a race car. I'm in a ball that the limo guy can roll me into bowling pins. Wow, that looks fun. I'm wearing gigantic boxing gloves. We're doing the sumo thing.
I did like the gigantic boxing gloves. That would be a fun one to do. Knock people around.
I mean, yeah, this is about as fun as watching people do escape rooms.
Yeah.
Wow, look, they're doing an escape room. No, I don't watch people doing escape rooms. I've watched it in the past just to see how the escape rooms work and how the puzzles are. But it's not like I watch that and I'm like, this is so entertaining. I mean, it's it's YouTube people, so they're all like, there's like this classification of YouTube people like that do escape rooms that are all like, I'm being consciously wacky. No, I'm being weird.
And people watch that, Dan. That's the problem. Is people watch it.
Have you tried to watch any of these people that play Dungeons and Dragons?
Oh no, I have not. I mean, I've watched like Critical Role, but I don't know if that counts. Yeah. I assume you mean more. Oh, yeah, that counts,
isn't it? Aren't they playing Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah, they are, but they're a little more professional with it. You know what I mean? Like they're not super goofy. I don't think. I mean, they're goofy. I don't know. Listen. I don't watch it all that often. I'll just say that.
I hate you.
But hold on, Dan. Let me talk to you about something right now. Like, I was home for Christmas, and my mother watches these shitty YouTubes, which are like people going out into the woods and chasing ghosts, essentially.
You mean like ghost hunter shows?
Sort of, but they're so amateurish that I refuse to call it a ghost hunter show. It's just people going in the woods and be like, oh, did you hear that? Oh, did you hear that?
It's lower rent than ghost hunter shows, which is literally the lowest rent thing to produce.
Yes, that's what I'm telling you. It's just people in the woods pretending they hear stuff. It's so dumb, and she loves it. She watches them all the time. And these people have millions of views, like 3-5 million views. I don't understand the world. I don't understand it. How did we get on this? Why do I sound like a curmudgeon-y old man right now?
Because you are. Duff shows up at the house and then proceeds to tell him how amazing everything he's doing is.
Yeah. Well, you got a problem with that?
And then Preston. Oh, the kid's name is Preston. Like we care.
Yeah. But you do know.
Duff's like, I gotta meet Macintosh, and he's all like, oh, you can meet him tonight, and she's like, it's a date.
Not the first or last time she says it's a date with the child.
Then he gets to have dating advice with the limo driver.
So this scene was weird, Dan, because...
You mean where the crux of the movie is now about how he's going to win Shay's heart? It's basically what this movie is about?
No, that's totally fine with me. This is, again, as a child, this is my biggest wish. So I'm all on board with this. My problem with it is that an adult man is trying to teach him how to score with an adult woman, but he's 11. It's not... That part's weird to me. I understand the desire of the child, for sure. Totally get that.
Sure.
I understand the desire of the woman because that's what I wish I had. But this old man giving relationship advice to an 11-year-old about how to I wish I could find.
Did you write down some of his things?
Yeah. So you take leftovers. Because, and I quote, when you get home, you got a pocket full of hot wings, and women will go crazy for that.
You line your pockets with plastic or bags so that you can put. You go to all you can eat, so you can fill your pockets with food, and then when you get home, the woman's going to be like, "Oh, you've got more for me to eat."
Right, that's not even good advice, first of all. But I love it. And then he says, you say words like non-committal. And you're a dating machine. So he's teaching him how to be a player. I don't know. It's just so weird.
And you got to have a great bod.
You got a great, it's all about getting ripped and shredded and chiseled. And he's like, you have the body of a Greek god right now, but we're going to make you, oh, Dan, it's so weird. Everything that happens in the scene is weird.
So what do we have now? We have another have fun montage. This is what
you can't get enough. You can't get enough montages in this movie.
Ooh. Next morning, he's having breakfast at home. He's still grounded. And his dad comes out with Plan 442, which is like some plan he came up to make money. And he's like, get this to Mr. Macintosh.
And the kid is basically like, yeah, I'll get it to him. And because the dad was like, you're grounded. You can't go anywhere. And he was like, Dad, I got a meeting tonight. It's for work. He's like, you can't do it. And then the kid was like, I was going to tell him about your 442 plan, which doesn't make any sense.
So the
kid brings
coaches it out of him. Okay.
Yeah. And then the dad is so excited that in the end he says, hey, do you want the car keys?
And then what does the kid say? What is his exit line?
I don't know what his exit line is,
This
but
is
he
like
says,
maybe the best line in the whole stupid movie.
"Oh shit, I can't drive. I'm a kid." Something like that.
Later, toads.
Oh, hold on. Don't get. Yes, no, that is actually really nice, except for he then walks directly into the lens, but they don't cut away soon enough, so he takes 3 steps and stops in front of the lens. Did you not notice this? You have to cut 2 frames before he stops, so it looks like he's walking through the lens, guys.
So then this is we cut right from breakfast to the date.
To dinner. Yeah, to
They're
dinner
already
date.
seated. There's no
Yeah.
explanation as to why it's a stupid kid and not an adult, right?
Yep.
He gargles water, puts his sunglasses in a wine glass. It's a choice. He gives her a heart jewel,
Yeah.
which she can't accept, but he says it's a business gift. And then does she actually accept it? Because she's wearing it at the end of the
She's
movie.
wearing it later. Yeah, so she definitely takes this gift. Which, by the way, I think, is a business gift even legal? That sounds like bribery.
No such thing as a business gift.
Yeah, okay.
Of jewelry.
No
Business
such
gift.
thing as a business gift. Yeah, it's, oh boy.
Yeah. Then he pulls out his 3x5 cards and he starts to ask her questions about who she's dated in the past, who's the
And she's
shortest guy,
answering them.
and the youngest guy, and the tallest guy. It's like so weird. And then
what's weirder is she's answering them, Dan. Yes. She like at one point she points out, she's like, these are very personal questions, very sexually. She says it like, I'm really enjoying it. Oh boy, look at this cutie monster.
Baby, don't come to visit the program.
Boy.
You come to visit the program.
Yeah, you're so sweet.
She's a good girl. She sits her on the couch with me.
I wish I had a friend with me. Just me and my loneliness.
Yeah, so she's like totally
yeah, she's into it.
Puts up with all of his weird bullshit. And then he like just sort of falls over.
Yeah, he just falls backwards.
Brings the whole food down on him, and so instead they go to get burgers.
Yep. Do you like burgers? She's like, I love burgers. Give me a burger. And that's how I felt.
Where do they talk about where they go to get burgers and how that scene plays out? I don't think they got
burgers anywhere, Dan. They just had burgers and they're in a park.
Well, burgers appear for them to eat.
That's what I'm saying. There's not like a burger place that they go to. They're in a park, no burger joint around, and they've got burgers and fries. And I don't know how that works out.
What happens next, Tony?
Oh, Dan. What happens next is illegal, I think, in 49 states. So he basically brings her over to these holes in the concrete. Now, if you look around, there's water being sprayed everywhere. And she's like, what is this? It's clearly a fountain. Let me just say that. But this fountain is very powerful, and it starts shooting water up. So then they start getting flirty and very wet and giggly and running around and touching each other and having a good time.
Is her skirt blown up at times where we can see her underwear?
I mean, her skirt's up. She's soaking wet, like it's probably see-through underneath.
Oh, no, she's wearing something very specific. Well, maybe underneath, but you know, the dress.
Oh, yeah, no, the black. It's you can't see through that.
See through amazing.
But when that shit pops up, which it does on 3 or 4 occasions, there, I'm telling you, man, there's some dirty stuff here, and she is having a great time with it. She is loving. She's yelling his name. She's, oh, Preston! Some dirty shit, man. It's awesome.
You do a terrible Karen.
What are you talking about, Preston?
She clings to him, and then boom, the bad guys are there because this is the place they thought to continue to look for children in the middle of the night.
Which doesn't make any sense because this isn't a place that children go, Dan. They said that's what they were doing. They're looking at places children go. This is not one of those places.
And so they run. The bad guys get splashed and fall down.
Wait, hold on. First of all, before that, when they finish running through the things, people are around clapping for them. Do you remember that? There's literally people standing around the park.
Their weird sexualized performance. Yes, people do. People do cheer for their weird sexualized performance.
Attaboy, kid, you're getting it. Well done, sir. Yeah, so then the bad guys show up. They run to the car. The bad guys are running, and then the fountain goes off, and it somehow blows them into a tumble?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. These people just ran through it for 8 minutes, and they were fine. One of them's a tiny child. Ridiculous. But you know what? Miguel plays it as straight as he can, and he gets up. He's like, they got away again. And I was like, good for you selling it, man.
They did. They actually sell the fall down.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, this is cartoon violence or whatever. And so they're in the car. She thanks him for like this incredible evening.
She says, she's like, I haven't had that much fun since I was a kid. I loved it. I had so much fun. Is that better? Did I get better at her?
It's not worse.
Preston!
No, don't ever do that. You think back on Big. Big had a similar sort of thing going on, and they carefully danced around it because they acknowledged it was weird.
And it's somehow less weird because he's at least in an adult body in that movie. You know what I mean? Like you can understand why she might be attracted to him because he's fun, but in an adult body. This is a tiny child, and she is totally like she wants it. She is thirsty.
She's 31 at the time, I believe, is how old she was.
She's younger than me at this point? Fuck, I'm old. Yeah. Damn it, dude.
I'm having a party. I was just like, how are we going to keep this movie going? Well, we're going to have a party. I just like that line, like in my soul, it's like the bad movie line. And I just was like so not surprised by it. And it caused me so much pain. I hated it so much.
Wait, what? Why are you so mad?
Because it's just like, okay, what are we going to, it's kind of like in From Justin to Kelly, okay, how do we get to the next scene? Oh, we're throwing another party on the beach. Oh, wait, next scene. Oh, we're throwing another. It's just like, okay, come on.
At least they made it that person's job in that movie. Like at least it kind of makes sense that he's always throwing another party to invite you to. This movie, it's not his job. I don't know how to tell you that.
Like what are we gonna do in the next one? Oh, we're gonna do a party. Like, great.
We're gonna do a party.
And he says goodnight. He drops her off. She would be dying. She would be freezing. She would have pneumonia. We'd never see her again.
She's soaking wet.
Never a towel. Never Butler standing there. I mean, I keep thinking he's the Butler because I've been rewatching Glow, and he has a Butler.
Oh, okay,
in that.
Sure.
That show's so good. Rewatched the first two seasons, finishing the third season. Third season not as good as the first two seasons, but still good.
What are you gonna do?
Have the limo driver standing there with a towel. She towels off her hair. I feel better about it. I can buy it, but she's fucking soaking wet. Yeah,
no, she's dripping head to toe. Nobody cares, and we just throw her on the side of the street.
Sidewalk.
Yeah, she's fine. Don't worry about it.
And it's going to be a joint birthday party. We have a scene where Dad's eating breakfast alone.
I don't even understand why we're doing this, other than because then he asks where the other boys are, and she's like, they're working for Macintosh.
The boys are working for Macintosh. He humiliates them a bit. And then the party planners show up. Do you want to talk about Debbie Allen's performance?
I beg you to not make me talk about her. It is the worst thing I have ever fucking seen in my life. I
will unequivally state it is the worst performance in any movie that we have done.
We've done 100%. Why is she doing that accent? First of all, because she can't do it. Number one, if somebody came to my set that I'm directing,
we sat through all the different Avatar, like, I'm from Brooklyn. I'm a Native American.
Yeah,
I'm
a
from
fish.
Space. I'm a fish. This is
how you doing? I'm a fish avatar. Let's go.
I'm a fish over here. What's the matter for you? I'm the whale. This is how we whales talk because we're from Brooklyn.
Yeah. Swim around all day. What are you gonna do? No, I don't. If that came out one line, I swear to God, just one fucking line, I would have been like, no. You gotta stop. Just talk normal. Talk normal. You can't do that. Jeff
Bridges won in the Seventh Son. I do the You're just like, what is this? I don't understand. It's not human.
No, she sounds like a shitty robot, right? like a 90s era, like this is what we think robots will be like. It's just fuck, man. I hated her so much. I wanted her off the screen immediately.
And the thing about it is, this movie, you could blame a lot of things on a lot of people, and you just like, you blame that on her. That's on her.
That was a choice that she made, fully knowing what was happening.
Yes.
Oh, God. Yeah, no, she's fucking garbage. Is she good in other things? I don't know who she is. Do I?
She's a dancer. I believe she was one of the teachers in Fame, in the Fame TV show, maybe the Fame movie also.
Wow. Okay. Well.
And as I remember, she was fine because she played herself. You know, she just does
like
herself.
A human. Yeah, she just played a regular person.
Not playing a human in this.
Oh boy.
Well, good. I'm glad you hated that as much as I did.
No, it was insanity.
Henry's getting lonely. He goes to the park, sees real kids, and it's like looking at them lamentingly. And then the bad guys are just driving by the park at that time, so we have a bike versus car chase.
Dan, this means that these three guys have been driving around parks in this town for the entire. They've never stopped. This is like day 2.5 of them just cruising for childs.
And this is back when 3 adult men could do that in a car.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I used to do it all the time. I got it. Yeah.
The police probably delivered the children to them back then, actually.
Like, is this the kid you're looking for? We found him over there down by the dumpster. Here you go, sir.
You know that with the Jeffrey Dahmer case, at one point, he like drugged up a guy. The guy escaped, and the police brought the guy back to Dahmer to kill.
No. Is that real?
It's real.
God, that's so fucked up. He almost made it, Dan. Oh, I'd be so mad. He is up in heaven, just furious right now.
Yeah. So we have this car bike chase.
Which is amazing that the car is never faster than the bike, but it's fine.
He has the money in his backpack while he's riding around.
All the time. He carries it with him everywhere he goes. This kid had, at one point, $1 million in that backpack, and nobody ever stole it. Oh, he really missed an opportunity.
Tone Loc falls in a river. Kind of funny. The kid drops the bag. Somebody barfs in the car. The kid's then able to go back and get the bag from another guy.
Barfing in the car is pretty funny. Because he's running and running.
Don't you blow chunks in my car.
He's like, I'm cool. And then as soon as he starts the car, wow! It's a good bit.
It's kind of funny. The car crashes. Okay, they follow the kid up this ramp onto the stage, and then the car launches into 2 other cars. Now
it drives off of a stage. You can't.
Hold on a second, Tony.
Yeah.
Where are the police? Where's the people
the police are on holiday. All right, they don't want to mess with this.
You can't have the bad guys crash their car into other cars and then just say the bad guys just get away.
But they can't get away, so they just literally get out of the car and walk away. That car is still on top of those other cars because you can't get the car off the cars. That's not possible without a tow truck type of deal. So they just get out of the car and leave it. It's bizarre. It's so weird.
And there's Butch.
Hold on.
Put the grabs on Butch.
No. My other favorite line comes after they crash the car.
Okay.
And the fat guy in the back, I can't remember his name, the banker.
The bank guy.
He goes, Carl, at this point, it might just be easier to steal another $1 million. And I was like,
He's
pretty
correct.
good.
He's
That's
correct.
Pretty good,
Let's
guys.
just start over. Maybe embezzle the money from the bank.
Yeah, right.
Do something.
Yeah, we've got other options here.
Time for something new illegal. You guys are not good at illegal.
That's good stuff.
So they grab Butch. Butch says, take a hike, butt brain. They hold Butch over the ledge of a building, and Butch gives up the kid.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he folds pretty quickly, so.
The stupid brothers tell the stupid kid that Shay is a gold digger. Then we have
which again would make more sense if we didn't already know her real motivation.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just me.
Fancy people begin to show up for the party. Then I don't want to talk about this, but the limo driver does a whole skin a cat bit.
Yeah. Oof. Oh boy. Yeah. So he's like, You ever heard this is the one I was talking about. It was like, you ever heard of this one? You ever heard of that one? And he's just talking about idioms basically. And his second there's only one way to skin a cat. You skin it, right? And he's like, what's the other way? You put a hose up his butt and he blows up so big that he skins himself. What does that mean? I don't understand. How does that make it into the movie?
Oh, because they don't have enough stuff for this movie, so they'll put anything in this movie.
Which is why I think it has to be improv. Because if you hear that in improv, you might chuckle just because it's like, wow, what a weird thing to say.
What a weird thing to say.
But if I think for even a second that somebody wrote that somebody took the time to put that on a page, and then through the many rewrites and other people reading the script, everyone was like, let's keep that one in. That's a good one. I'll lose my mind, Dan. I will lose my mind right now if that's what happened.
They kept the whole Avatar script in there. Avatar 2, sorry. So all these people showing up sort of push him out of his own fantasy. How do I still have another page and a half?
I don't know, because I'm pretty much out of notes now.
Shay believes the kid. He tells some lie about Mr. McIntosh, I guess.
Yeah.
He goes to the office. He's looking at he gets the bill from Debbie Allen again, and then he adds up all the numbers, and it seems like he's just down $300, but he also seems like he's down the entire $100,000 bill for the party, right?
Yeah, because all he has left is $300.
But the $100,000 for the party is part of his adding on his things that makes him down to $300.
You are right about that. That you're right. The way that the thing works, it would add all that up and be like, you only have 300 left. It wouldn't say you can't do the last entry because you only have 300 prior to the entry that's already above me in the equation. You're right. It doesn't make any sense. I got nothing.
And then his dad walks in the office, and then Preston's turned around acting like he's McIntosh, and the dad's like, oh, this is all my fault. I made money too important to him. I pushed the kids. Maybe it's because he reminds me of myself, but I'm afraid of him missing his childhood. I just want him to come home. And then
you're missing the most important line of that,
yeah.
Dan, which is where the dad says, I'm afraid that he's missing his childhood.
Yeah, I said that.
And I'm afraid I'm missing it too.
Oh.
And that's the part where I get a little verklempt.
It's a good thing if there was some reason why Preston couldn't just turn around in his chair.
Yeah. Oh, no. I'm not saying it makes any sense. But that's a good line if the movie sets that up well. Sure. That would be a very powerful line.
Yeah. If this movie was about those lines, then it would be great.
Yeah, it would be great.
I'm always gone, and I'm an absent father, and Preston might be looking for a father and some stupid limo driver. That's the premise.
All of that? Okay. Yeah, all of that is great, Dan. That's a heart-wrencher right there.
Yeah.
Not this movie.
And so then Preston waits a minute, then turns around, runs after his dad. His dad has disappeared.
His dad ran out of this house. He sprinted as fast as he could back to his house, without a doubt.
Back at the office, Shay's in danger now? Is she in danger?
Is she in danger?
No, I don't know. Maybe I don't know that. Maybe I thought that's what was going to happen. I wrote it down.
Okay.
The bad guys now attack his house, which is 3 doors down.
Yeah.
They knock in the door.
They bust down the door.
Nobody's there.
Not only is nobody there, but let's talk about just for a second this scene for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So they knock down the door, and
low angle, they're sort of booming. Yeah. We see the door. Very dramatic.
The camera's just on the ground because someone forgot their tripod, and they're like, just put it on the ground for now. Don't worry about it. They bust down the door, and fog. Some sort of fog machine is stuck on high because fog just billows into this house, and there's no fog outside. We've been outside the whole night. There's no fog.
3 doors down at the party. No fog. Down.
It's like the movie The Mist all of a sudden. That's just fucking coming in hardcore.
They start shooting their children, to save them from the monsters.
I fucking hate the end of that movie. Oh my God.
You know why you hate the end of that movie? Because it's one of the most intense endings for a movie ever. Because they just fuck the characters over.
They fucked the characters over so hard. And Steven didn't do that. The short story does not end that way. That's
care.
why I
Don't care.
Oh, you son of a bitch. It's so much. It ends hopeful. Stephen King's story ends hopeful, and this movie is like, hopeful. Fuck you, buddy.
Well,
oh, God, it's brutal.
It is hopeful because the mist went away and the world's going to go back to normal.
I don't care about all those other people, Dan. I'm saving the one person. I'm saving my kid. He puts a bullet in his fucking kid's head, man.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, spoilers for the movie The Mist, by the way.
It's a great ending. Great ending movie.
Oh,
Just a great
it's too
ending.
much. It is too much for me.
You know, it takes balls for a director to choose that ending.
It really does, and I do not like it. I am not happy with him as a person.
And you know what the director would say? He's like, my job is
good.
Done here.
Yeah, like good. Yeah, great. I'm glad you feel that way.
You feel, you're at the end of a horror movie. Now you feel like you're at the end of a horror movie.
God, I hate that movie so much. I mean, in the way that it just fuck.
I was digress because this movie's terrible. I was on something where they were like, if you could live in one horror movie franchise world, which one would you live in? You think about that. And people were like doing them all. One guy did the Jason X or Jason in Space, whatever that movie was, and had the two girls, fighting.
I get it. I know my answer is Species, of course, though. Well, Dan, you asked. You asked me the question, I answered it. I would live in that in a heartbeat, and I'll tell you what, I'm procreating with an alien all day. I don't give a shit.
Tony's taking the risk. One and done, but I'm doing that.
If that is the way to go out.
Okay.
Dan, the other point I want
to make. About the mist pours in, the shot of the camera on the ground.
There's no lights on, and Tone Loc's final line of this scene is, I like what they done with the color of this place. He can't see. It's dark as shit, and there's fog everywhere. He doesn't know what color's on the wall.
More importantly, like he knew what it was before.
It's a good point. They're like, I'm really glad they repainted 6 months ago. This place looks great.
So back at the thing, there's no money. The party is over. He goes on the microphone and shut it down. They shut the whole thing down. People are leaving. People are stealing the presents.
Yeah, people just turn into thieves. Yeah, they brought presents and they're taking them all back. People are stealing like champagne glasses or something because the party planner's like, you can't take those. And then someone takes her extensions off of her head or something like that. And I was like, what is going on? This scene's crazy.
My favorite part was one of the presents you could see was not wrapped all the way around because they knew it was going to be on a present table. But when it gets stolen, you can see that it's only half wrapped.
It's only half.
Nice. Good job, production designers.
Yeah, you are great job.
You're half doing your jobs. And so everybody leaves, and the bad guys show up, and they're like, "Where's Macintosh?" And the kid's like, "Take me to the police." And they then he defeats them all.
Well, yeah, if we want to just sum it up like that, sure.
He defeats the banker by VR headsetting him to death.
And all he did was put it on. All he did was put the VR headset on the guy, and he starts freaking out like he doesn't know what's happening. I don't know. You've got a device on your head, guys. Just take it off. It's not that hard. But he's flailing around, and then he ends up passing out, I guess. I don't know.
Does something to Tone Loc, which I didn't write down, and then somehow gets
I don't know what he does to Tone Loc.
Miguel Ferrer in the red ball, and then pushes him.
Well, let me tell you how he gets him into the red ball, because it makes a lot of sense. He jumps down from a tree on some sort of bungee device, says "Bonsai," kicks him. Miguel lands in the red ball. Somehow the kid unhooks himself from this bungee thing that saved him from a tree, runs over, kicks the thing shut before Miguel can stand back up, and then locks it. Stupid. This is a stupid movie.
Knocks him into the pool with the car.
Which, by the way, he's dead. He's dead. He's going to drown in that cage because the cage was locked.
Cage breaks.
There was a lock. I understand that they did that so he wouldn't be dead, but that cage was locked.
The hinges rusted.
Oh, so quickly.
So quickly. And then the police show up, right? Miguel Ferrer comes out of the thing, is about to grab the kid, and then the police just show up. And then Miguel Ferrar's like, "Oh, that was the one. That was the one thing I liked was the banker at a certain point says this kid has set up everything. He's bought the house. Now you just take over and be Macintosh.
Yeah, just take
Nice.
yeah.
I
Like
it.
it's already laid out. Someone just needs to fill that position, and it could be you.
Yeah, so that was great. And then Miguel Ferrar's like, I'm Macintosh. And then, of course, the FBI is looking for Macintosh because he's the one who's been passing the bad bills.
I mean, I guess, but yeah, I guess, yeah. I was a little confused, if I'm being honest, but it's fine.
Shay ushers the kid away. Dad shows up and pushes through all the police somehow magically.
Yeah, they just let him right in. I mean, they say, hey, sir, you can't go in. He's like, no, I'm going to go in. They're like, okay, cool.
And Shay and him have a private moment. And she's like, call me in 12 years. Call me in 5 years. Call me in 6 years. Yeah. They end on 6 years.
End on 6 years, but that's not 18. Even if he is 11, like I said, that's 17.
They kiss on the lips.
On the lips. Yahtzee.
I have to say, the kiss was not as egregious because I read some stuff about it, and I thought the kiss was going to be more egregious. It was just kind of like and I'm like, it wasn't.
First of all, it was a little more than that because there was some intention behind it. Because the eyes, it's the eye stand. When she's coming in for it, you're like, oh shit, she's going to kiss him. Oh shit, she's kissing him. That's how I felt. I don't know about you.
I thought that the fountain part was a lot weirder than this.
I'll tell you. I mean, listen, they're both great.
This is a kiss. It's both great.
They're both great moments in my life and the kid's life. So
great moments in cinematic history.
Listen, yeah. I mean, 6 to midnight right there.
So he's glad to see the limo driver. Glad to see his dad. Let's go home. He goes about and gets to say his goodbye to the limo driver who has returned. He thought that the limo driver had left in the middle of the party stuff, but the limo driver had just gone out to get ice cream.
To get ice cream for the kid.
That's kind of sweet. I thought that was a little sweet.
Yeah, no, it's a nice little moment, and then he's going to eat the ice cream by himself now, which is still weird.
And he's like, limo driver, you got one thing. STYLE
style.
And then we roll a song.
Hold on, I just want to say, I know the movie's weird, but I do like that the limo driver basically knew that the kid was Macintosh the whole time. That's what I got from. That's kind of what I got from the ending because he was like, "Tell Macintosh that I'm really gonna miss him," and I had a great. And I was like, "Oh, so he knew.
He had to have known."
Yeah, which I thought that was a nice moment.
There's a song I wrote all these lines. I don't know what any of them mean. Sleep well. There's cake. Make a wish. Be careful what you wish for. And you could tell he's wishing for Shay to appear in his bed so that he can sleep with her and have sex with her.
Yeah. Let's set this up properly, Dan. So he comes back home and the family surprises him with a birthday cake.
Oh, they're waiting in his room. That's what.
Yes. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And then they're like, make a wish. And he's like, I have everything I need right here. My shitty family that doesn't appreciate or like me. And then he looks to the right and he sees that stupid poster of Shay that he took from the bank.
Oh, so that's why he had that thing.
And he goes, on the other hand, and then blows out the candles. Yeah, and this kid's wishing for her to be naked in the bed, and he's going to town. And I was like, I get it, kid. I get it.
That was Tony's dream too. That's what he would have wished for from the beginning. From
age 8 to age, how old am I? 37. Every birthday calendar, I'm like, oh, give me one of those.
So Karen Duffy, diagnosed with a terrible sort of neurological disorder where she has all sorts of chronic pain, and has written a number of books about her chronic pain. That's why we don't see her in a lot of stuff.
Why are you just trying to bring me down? That's really sad. I hope,
because
that's how life. Some way to alleviate.
That's how life really is. It's not a bunch of fucking. Not a bullshit piece of shit kid.
People are confused why I like to live in blank check. All right, the real world sucks, guys. Give me blank check any day.
Give Tony that blank check.
Also, just give me a real check because I owe a lot of money right now.
Any other notes about this movie?
I mean, I don't think so. What a wild ride. I was trying to imagine what it would be like to come up with the premise of this movie and what kind of a person you'd have to be to think that this is a good idea. But hey, thank God they did, you know?
it is weird that this is a Disney movie. You know,
It shouldn't be a Disney movie.
No. You know, the weird sexualization stuff is just kind of weird.
Yeah, it's super weird,
You
but
know?
as a kid, it's awesome.
Yeah, just make the woman not reciprocate and make her sort of forced to be there. We think she's a gold digger, but in truth, she's there for the FBI. Boom. This is fine.
It all makes sense. Yeah. Nope, she's into it. And she's like, please. I mean, here's the thing is she wants him to call her in 6 years. Like she wants that to happen. She's not like, I guess you could call me.
So she's going to be 37. He's going to be 17. She's going to date a 17-year-old when she's 37.
Dan, you say that as if that's not awesome. That's the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Tony's dream.
Which I can't do anymore because now I'm the 37-year-old, and it's not as cool the other way, which is interesting.
How creepy do you think it would be if someone saw you hitting on a 17-year-old?
Nobody has to see me, Dan. I would feel that would be the weirdest thing, and I can't even imagine. That's so weird.
And what 37-year-old in the world would want to listen to anything a 17-year-old has to say?
Well, his name is Leonardo DiCaprio. That's not. They're like 20-something. I'm just kidding. Don't come at me, Leo.
Okay, Tony. What do you got for us? What did you like this week?
Oh, kind of cheating again, but by the time this comes out, it'll be out. Ted Lasso season 3.
Okay. So you're excited for Ted Lasso?
Oh God, Dan, I'm so excited. The trailer dropped last week, I think, and it gave me all the feels. I love this show so much, and I really hope this isn't the end, but I get it if it is.
It's probably is. We watched this Netflix movie, The Strays.
The Strays? Never heard of it.
It's like, number 2 in the movies on Netflix,
Okay.
Jordan Peele-esque kind of a movie. So
okay, now Jordan Peele, like Get Out Jordan Peele, or Jordan Peele like that new stupid Alien movie Jordan Peele?
Get Out Us kind of Jordan Peele.
Okay, great. All right, I love that.
Kind of interesting. Kind of psychological drama-ish sort of stuff.
Okay.
Sitting through this movie, you're like, I do not know where this is going.
Okay. All right. Hey, I'm in.
And friend of the show, Todd, wanted to point out to you, Tony, that the guys that played Clark Kent and Lex Luthor from Smallville are going to be guests at the Tidewater Comic Convention, where Todd will also be a guest. So he's going to be sharing air with your boys.
With Rosie and Tom Welling? Oh, I love them so much. Oh, I should have worn my shirt. I bought a whole bunch of merch from their podcast, Talkville.
No, that was great.
You know what? It made sense with the story that you told, Dan.
What about next week? We need a new movie, Tony, and you're on the spot.
We need a new movie.
We've had 2 weeks off of not having to pick movies.
It's been really nice. So if we could just if we could get more fans to just tell us what to do, that's honestly my best skill is just doing what I'm told.
Find us some more terrible movies, fans.
Guys,
the show.
Do it. But you and I are going to do something great. So this week, I've been re-listening to Smartless, the podcast. I don't know if you've heard of that one. That's Will Arnett and Justin Bateman and the guy from Will and Grace, Sean something. Oh, feel bad. Anyhow, so I'm way behind, and I just listened to the episode with Bradley Cooper, and I was like, oh, Bradley Cooper, I remember him. We should do a Bradley Cooper movie. And so that's what we're doing. We're doing a movie called All About Steve.
Is this Sandra Bullock?
This is, this is Sandy. This is him. It's Thomas Hayden Church, and apparently Ken Jeong is in it. So I'm pretty excited.
This has been on the, this is one I've toyed with at times. I had this on my list at one point. Yeah.
You know how I feel about my rom-coms. I love them. And so if I want to watch as many as we can.
This one's going to be terrible. So that's,
well, says
that's
you.
Good.
It's got 2 of my favorite people in it.
Who's that?
Well, Sandy is perfect in every way, and then Bradley Cooper also pretty much perfect.
Be interesting to see how you screw it up with her. She's pretty.
She's so likable.
Pretty consistent. Pretty consistent.
Yeah, no, she is. Yeah. So we'll see. I'm excited.
Cool.
And it's only an hour and 39 minutes, so that's also a bonus.
Well, that tells you something.
Yeah, I like to keep it tight now. I'm sick of this Avatar bullshit.
How long was that movie? Was that 3 hours and 12 minutes?
It's like 15 hours. Yeah, it was over 3. That's all I know. Yeah, brutal.
Cool. So, this has been Hate Watching with Dan and Tony. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up. If you want to suggest a movie, go for it. Leave us a comment.
Please do.
And you can always subscribe so that you get the latest Hate Watching with Dan and Tony news. And follow our new Instagram where Tony's been posting some little bonus, some movie posters with our faces superimposed on them.
Yeah, I wish I was better at it, but it looks like a child.
In a good way.
Yeah, it looks like a child did it. It's at Hate Watching DAT. Come on by.
There it is. And we'll be back next week serving it up again, baby.
All about Steve. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Wrexham.
Wrexham.